Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 146 of the world's longest tenured Denver Nuggets spin-off podcast. Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets' Serbian Corner. My name is Miroslav, and before we begin, please take a moment to like the video on YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the DNVR Sports YouTube channel and DNVR Nuggets podcast channel. The audio version is ideal for your commute or to make your office or home office time more bearable. If you want to support the show more directly, you can become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/MiroslavCuk, just like my Seco tier supporters, Peter Plummer, Daniel Lynch, and Brian Johnson. Patreon supporters can enjoy the ad-free audio version of this show. They can also send ideas for guests and topics for the show and come on the show during the summer when the game show month returns with even crazier trivia games than ever before. Last house cleaning note, if you're listening to the audio version of this show, you just heard the tune Finding Gordes by a Nuggets superfan and Grammy-nominated songwriter we all know as Crystal Ghost. Thank you, Elliot. Okay, we have another week of zero Nuggets news. Well, that's not true. Zero good Nuggets news. After 12 years, the assistant GM, Tommy Balsettis, will not be returning to the team next season. The Nuggets are now down two major front office guys, with Boot and Tommy B being out, not to mention nobody replacing Tim Connolly as the president of basketball operations 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And down several assistant coaches, while most other franchises are already replenishing their staffs. Desmond Bane was traded from Memphis to Orlando for our old friend KCP, Cole Anthony, and 4 first-round picks. Easy for those teams. They have front offices. The Lakers are no longer a bus vehicle. Jeannie and her brother, whatever his name is, sold most of their stake in the franchise to the Dodgers owners for $10 billion. What a lucky coincidence right after that very creative Luca Doncic trade. Oh, yeah. I should talk about the NBA Finals too. Indiana won in Game 6, even with Tyrese Halliburton playing on one leg. And now it is time for the nobody believes in us crowd from OKC to show their face again. OKC was a minus 900 favorite going into this final series, but sure, pretend you're an underdog. Two very deep teams got to the finals, and that should be our main takeaway, I think. All right, that is enough of an intro. Let me bring in my guest for today. First, from the Denver Stiffs show, one of my OG podcasting heroes, my favorite sports radio voice, and my movie-watching role model from Colorado Springs, Missouri, Colorado. Welcome back to the show, Gordon Gross.
Hey, good to see you, Miro. How you doing?
Very good, very good. How about you?
Good. I'd be better if the Nuggets would decide they want to actually hire somebody, but yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah, we'll go deeper into that right after I introduce my second guest for today. And from the Never Canceled The Dig podcast, also under the Denver Stiffs umbrella, the inventor of Nuggets Haiku and many Nuggets-themed games I'm stealing for years, from Littleton, Colorado, it's Nick Hertzog. Welcome back, Nicholas.
What's up, buddy? Hopefully you're a little cooler than we are here today. It's like pushing 100 right now, so I've got a cold beer.
I actually have an idea what 100 means. So, yeah. I
right.
feel,
yeah, it's like 35?
I think a bit more than that. 38 maybe. I'm not sure.
I'm 38
sure.
maybe.
But it's pretty hot. Yeah, pretty hot.
Very hot.
It was
36, almost 37.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty hot today.
Mm-hmm. Get a proper temperature system. It makes
and
no sense.
What's the humidity, by the way? It's very low,
it's
right?
pretty low. Yeah, here.
For us it is. The rest of the country, the U.S., there's a lot of humidity. There's actually a lot of people who are in real trouble anywhere east of us. But yeah, we have the low humidity today, so we're not getting it as bad.
Yeah, you're actually lucky with high temperatures and low humidity. That's an easier combination.
It's
But
much
this
better.
is not the weather forecasting podcast. Oh, well, not yet. But maybe if the Nuggets don't hire
Don't
anybody
do anything,
for another
yeah.
week,
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows what's
Yeah.
going to happen with this show? So we'll see about that. So guys, right now there are the finals going on. We are going to see Game 7 tomorrow night, I think. If I check the schedule properly, I'm not sure I'm going to watch that game live. But in a clash of styles, a team that never passes the ball in OKC faced the beautiful game team of the Indiana Pacers. What are the lessons the Nuggets should learn from the two last teams standing? And are there any real lessons we could learn, specifically since the way those teams were built and with the assets they have had and they still have?
Be deeper. Like, I mean, that
Depth
seems
matters.
to help.
Yeah.
Like, they have enough gas in the tank because they're deeper teams than the Nuggets are. And I would also say the Nuggets need to get back to, well, they did okay in these playoffs. They really did, of not quitting on anything, of playing all the way through and not caring if they were down or not. But in last year's playoffs didn't go quite the same way. There was more quit in the team than I had seen during their championship run. The Pacers have no quit at all. The Pacers don't care if they're down in the last 30 seconds of the game. Wait, we got this. We still got this. And that undying belief in self is part of what made the Nuggets so impressive in 2023. Winning the title was they just knew you could not handle them if the game was close. All Denver had to do was keep it close, and they showed that to the Lakers. Early on was, yeah, you can keep it close, but close is still going to be a close win. You don't get to take this game from us. And that's how the Pacers are. If you let us hang around, we're going to get you. And I appreciate that mentality from them, honestly. That is something that the Nuggets need to re-embrace.
Nick, what are your takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, definitely there's been a shift in the league, I think, toward when we just see with the teams that are having success now, and even Jokic talked about this, that the deeper teams seem to be having more success, and maybe the top end talent isn't as important as having 8 or 9 like playable guys who have a lot of switchability and versatility. That's one of the things I'm really noticing about the Pacers and Thunder both, is they kind of have these like once you get past the kind of 2-3 like superstar guys, you have a bunch of guys that you can just sort of swap around as you need to. So it makes you really versatile for different matchups to be able to play to other teams' strengths or weaknesses. And it also lets you run with a hot hand, because as you get further down on the bench, you're going to have guys that are just less consistent.
Right.
But if you have a bunch of playable guys, at least then, if one guy just doesn't have it that night, you just sit him, or the matchup's not favorable, whatever. You don't have to play him that night. And I think, yeah, the like era of the 3 superstars and roll to a championship, the death ball of superstar play to a championship just doesn't fly anymore.
The Phoenix Suns were the last team that tried with extremely expensive contracts, even more expensive than the Nuggets' contracts are, and when they had all of Bradley Beal and Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, and at one point it was even DeAndre Ayton, and they switched him to a slightly smaller contract in Nurkic. But we saw how bad that worked. We saw them pushing the chips in the top 4, top 5 guys, and then getting 10 or 12 minimum contract guys. That just doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it today, because there is this rumor. I don't think it's a real piece of news, but nevertheless, that Adam Silver is going to announce the league expansion after the finals are over. And even though that's probably not real news, the expansion is coming. And I was thinking,
Yeah.
I was thinking about the expansion draft. We remember how those things used to work in the past. Every team would have like 7 guys they can protect from not being drafted by the 2 new franchises, and nobody could draft more than one guy from one franchise. But I was thinking, which kind of guys are gonna get protected under this new CBA? Are there gonna be the best guys or the guys on best value contracts?
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine people like players like Bradley Beal and Paul George are not going to be protected. But I don't know that means they're going to get picked either, right? Because who wants to build a franchise around that kind of a contract? So yeah, probably the new like superstar is the guy who's like right at that kind of star level, but also on a favorable contract.
Well, but then you have to, if they're not protected, like why would you not protect that guy if you had him? So the question is, who gets not protected? Because if you're the Pelicans, obviously you're protecting Trey Murphy. That would be the guy that somebody else would want that you have. You're not going to give that up for nothing. So who aren't you protecting? Probably Zion, because you're like, look, if you take him, that clears my books, and if you don't take him, I've still, I can do whatever I want to do with him. So it's, the value contract is going to be whoever's on a high value for the dollar, but though a lot of those guys aren't going to be available. I just expect it's going to be, you're going to make it up of guys that are overpaid but still good. So for the Nuggets, you're talking about somebody like Mike. MPJ is a guy who's making a little too much money, not too much money. People really freak out about that, especially as the salary cap keeps going up 10% every year. Mike is not on a bad deal this year and next. It's really not that bad. But he also is not a lead guy. He is, he can't have the ball in his hands. He's not going to, take 25 shots a game. So he doesn't start your offense. But he's expensive, and he can do great things for you as an additional player while you build your squad out. And so just watching hockey drafts, I fully expect that to be the sort of mentality the guys are going to go for. Is they're going to get special privileges in the draft. They usually do for expansion drafts. And you're going to get you're going to try to fill out with, you find a young star, and then you add in more expensive pieces around him to fill out your roster, knowing that you could then spin them off if you need to as you build out your expansion team.
So, Nick, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Which 7 guys would you protect from not being picked in an expansion draft? So we're not talking about untouchable guys in terms of trades, but untouchable guys in terms of just being stolen away from your franchise.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to protect Murray, Jokic, AG, Christian.
4.
Yeah, beyond. I mean, well, so because part of it is you want to keep some like assets that are, potentially something you can use in a trade too, right? So like you're probably wanting to protect like Zeke, because that, $9 million or whatever is useful to make some trades possible.
Okay.
Even though he's maybe not a player you want on the team long term necessarily.
I would not be protecting him, but yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I hear what you're saying.
Probably, I don't know, probably Watson. Probably Pickett.
Okay.
7.
Gordo?
Well, the question is whether if you're protecting 7 guys, are you hoping to clear salary or not? Because if you leave Mike unprotected, he's probably getting drafted. So are you just trying to get rid of that salary for nothing? Are you salary dumping a good player for nothing? If you are, you better be able to replace his salary block under the CBA restrictions. So currently you could do some of that it would help you, but you're not getting any draft picks back for that. You're not getting anything for him. So if I'm
But
the Nuggets,
you're also not giving away draft picks to unload the contract.
right? But you don't have to give away draft picks to offload Mike. Like that's if you wanted to trade Mike, you could trade Mike. You might not get back what you think you want, but you could trade him.
But but you're paying to get rid of him is the point, right? Probably.
Well, no. Like if you trade Mike, if somebody offered you a bad contract that was expiring and a draft pick for Mike, you'd be like, you could take that, you would get the draft pick back, and then you could move the expiring for something else.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you could move Mike without ever needing to just give him away for nothing. If you're giving away for nothing, it's because you're going to do something with the salary spot. So, I don't think the Nuggets would do that. Personally, I would protect all of their top 7. Which it gets dicey, right? Are you protecting Peyton Watson or
5 starters plus who?
You have 5 starters, and then you're going to run into Watson and Holmes probably, because those are the guys that you're trying to build around. Like Watson, you're keeping around for trade purposes. I assume you're not going to pay him. And again, it's not like Watson's going to be here on the next when this actually happens in real life. But if it was happening this summer, like Watson's a guy that you're trying to trade. You're not trying to give him away for nothing because his salary, dumping this year's salary doesn't help you. So I mean, he's a better player than his salary this year. You just aren't going to pay him $15 million or $20 million a year next year, for an extension to come back, I assume. Because if you're going to pay Christian 30, you're not going to be able to pay Peyton 20 to back him up. Like, you just don't have the resources to do that. So for Watson, you'd keep him to trade him. You wouldn't be making him available so that somebody picks him. But, that would be my 7.
Yeah, the danger of not protecting Mike, I guess, is then he doesn't get picked. And now you have maybe a problem on your hands. Yeah.
That's a real thing. That's a real thing because we are not talking about numbers. We're talking about people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, this is also one thing you have to take into the account. In that situation, it's coming. We don't know which summer it's going to come, but I'm guessing it's going to be in one of the next 3 summers, not further down the
No. Yeah, Mike. The problem is you already know who you've got. Unless you could trade Murray, and I don't expect them to do that, nor do I expect them to be able to get back. We're going to talk about that probably later. But if you're going to keep the Jokic-Murray tandem, and you have AG as your main defender, 2-way monster player, and you're going to pay Brown to be your wing defender and hopefully sharpshooter, if he keeps working on that 3-point shot, then you can't keep paying Mike. Like, you can't. Even though his contract isn't that bad as the salary goes up, you're not going to be able to renew him, and with his injury history, you may not want to. So you may not want to be on the hook for 4 more years after this contract expires. So you got to pick a way to trade him and get something back.
Yes, let's take a short break, and after that, we're going to talk about the little piece of news we got from the Nuggets this past week. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we are back. So let's get to the Tommy Balsettis news. A very smart Lithuanian numbers guy from Harvard, who also happened to be a former professional basketball player, won't be among those deemed as necessary for the next stage of the Nuggets' front office staff. Nick, what is your reaction to this news, and what do you think it means for the Nuggets going forward? And does it have anything to do with your today's nickname, Nicholas the Unsatisfied?
Yeah, I mean, I'm unsatisfied for a number of reasons, I guess, which is we're 8 days out from the draft and we don't have any clarity yet on the front office situation. What's up?
It's not 8. It's like 6, 5.
Or 6, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we're less than a week out.
5 days. I believe
5 days. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's unsatisfying. Obviously, I'm unsatisfied with one championship so far out of this core. So that's really the heart of my unsatisfaction right now. But I'm a little concerned now that they don't have their crap together in the front office even yet going into this offseason. And I don't know why. And I don't have any special insight. You, Miroslav, you probably know a lot more about what's going on like behind the scenes than I do. But my overall impression is just that if he's gone, it kind of seems to indicate to me that there's going to be a more significant shakeup. They're probably not running with just kind of the next guy up in house. But that's just a total guess at this point.
Well, so Tommy was the next guy up in house, and he got passed over by Ben Tenzer when they made the interim GM decision. So there was kind of writing on the wall there. I hope he has another job this year with another team that he wants to work for, because making him wait around 2 months before letting him know his contract is not going to be picked up is kind of a jerk move by the front office. If you already knew you weren't going to hire him for your new front office, you could have told him that in April when you let Booth go so he could go find another job. Like, people are...
Yeah, I mean, aren't they sending a message if they signed him now? Isn't it kind of like, well, we couldn't find anyone better, so I guess we'll just stay with you.
They kept him around to be like, well, maybe we'll need you. Well, that's not a vote of confidence, man. That's you jerking some guy around on his contract. You either want to promote me or you don't want to promote me. We'll promote you if we can't do better. I mean, come on, man. So, for me, it's just another example of the Nuggets not having it together when it comes to making these decisions. Like, maybe they get their guy. I assume that they've had their guy and they just won't announce during the finals. I assume that guy is in place. I assume that they are going to make a hiring announcement after Game 7 at some point, that we have made a decision, here's our guy. Whether or not that guy is from Oklahoma City or not.
Yeah, there could be a reason.
I assume that is coming. But if they just wind up saying, oh, by the way, a day before the draft, Ben Tenzer's the guy and Josh Kroenke is going to be the president of basketball operations, that is a tremendous failure. Because you couldn't get the outside point of view that you were talking about when you fired Kelvin Booth. You said we need more, people to set the culture and to run the basketball operations, and we need some outside opinions. And you didn't get any of that if you do that move. So I do not expect that move, but I would be fairly livid if they wasted this 2-month period where they could have been hiring somebody and getting it together and figuring out the front office for draft and for free agency. This is a massive year. We don't have a draft pick. It's still a massive year. You could get one. Like, if you wanted to get a draft pick, you could get one. So what are you trying to do? You don't have anyone in charge who knows what they want to do. So they better get that guy quick. And like I said, I hope it's already agreed to and that things are just waiting for announcements and conversations are being had, because there are trades being made in the draft right now. There are free agency decisions, free agents being talked to right now, even though it's before you're allowed to talk to them. They are talking right now. And if there's no one in the Nuggets front office who can talk to these people, they are doing themselves a disservice in getting the deeper rotation that they need for this year, because they vitally need it. They know they need it, and messing around like this is not a good look.
I'm kind of wondering if Kroenke, so he took a lot of the blame for allowing the situation to fester between Booth and Malone. And it seemed to be, he at least implied this, but it seemed to, I almost feel like he directly said this, that he just wasn't paying close enough attention to what was going on with the Nuggets organization. He was distracted with other responsibilities and things with the Kroenke organization. So I think
he framed it in a way like not paying attention, but I wasn't deep enough. I thought my guys are doing the right work, and I didn't want to stay in their way too much.
Too much
that's,
delegation.
Of course,
maybe
that's like a really, really nice way to put it.
Yeah. So, well, I guess there's two ways I guess you could take this. Is he could have been, having that realization could mean that he is now pivoting to being more hands-on with the Nuggets, or it could be that he's realizing I don't have the time to devote to this, my old role with the team like I used to. So maybe we need a more powerful GM in place, somebody that I can really just like 100% rely on without having to really be involved as much.
Right.
And so if that's the case, then maybe this delay makes sense, because maybe they have really been doing a really thorough search for somebody more, who's not just, because Tenzer would make sense if Kroenke wanted to keep the organizational structure kind of, functioning in a similar way that it did before, then the next guy up makes sense. But if you want a real overhaul, then maybe somebody like Myers makes sense, or maybe there's some outside person that's coming in from either Indiana or OKC or something.
And if they pay Myers, that's great. Because the biggest thing with Kroenke is he doesn't want to pay anybody. For years, Malone was the lowest paid coach in the league.
Yep.
All the assistants were the lowest paid assistants in the league. He didn't pay anybody. They finally paid Michael Malone because they had to, because he won a title. So they were like, well, I guess we probably need to pay this guy.
And that could be part of the delay too, is just having to get Papa Bear on board with whatever
you're
the shift
trying to
is.
arm wrestle to open the pocketbook to pay for a real president of basketball operations. Because it's not going to be cheap. And they're already going to be paying Malone to not be here. So if you're going to hire a president of basketball operations, it's going to get more expensive than it was last year, and they're just going to have to figure that out.
So, Gordon, do we agree that this might be one of the most massive off seasons in the last 5 years of Denver Nuggets? When you think about the fact that they've had 2 seasons where in 2024 Jamal Murray just wasn't healthy, and then this year Michael Porter Jr. wasn't healthy, and then at the very end Aaron Gordon wasn't healthy as well. And you can call that bad luck, but you can also point to just having too few guys. And of course, if you're overusing your main guys, something's got to give. So would you frame this as a massive off-season trying to stir the ship into the right direction? Or do you just expect a lot of same old, and maybe the same process will give us different results next time around?
So your problem is every offseason with Nikola Jokic as your MVP caliber player is a massive offseason. He can't keep playing at this level for the rest of his career. At some point, he's going to be less than this. So if he's going to be like this for maybe 2 more years, you need to take advantage, because you've missed because of injuries, because of other things, but they may have been self-created problems. You missed already on at least 1 ring that you should have had. That's I'm with Nick as being unsatisfied. The Nuggets did this to themselves by not being deep enough, by not taking care of the roster, by assuming that some second-round picks could replace 10-year NBA vets and without blinking. That was ridiculous. And the fact that they did it and it failed, yes, it's a massive offseason to correct that failure, just like next offseason is going to be a massive offseason. They're all massive offseasons because you have the greatest player of his generation, and it would be great if you got more than 1 ring out of it. But the problem is there's not that much they can do. You may be able to trade Mike if you wanted to do that, but you ruin the spacing of the regular unit if you don't get a shooter back, and you can't trade him for a better shooter than he is. So you kind of have to bet that it's going to go 1 more year like this while you wait to develop a shooter or find a shooter or do something. And so really you need to build the bench. So it's going to look like minor moves, but they're critical minor moves. You need a bench center. You need to add Bruce Brown if you can. Because Russ has opted, to pursue other contract options, which is, again, good for him. But it means that you literally don't have a 6th man on the team now. You don't have a bench point guard other than Pickett, and you're not given the job to Pickett. Not in a year where you need to win a title.
Yeah.
So they really, really have to iron out who our bench guys are and add some real playable vets to it quick. Like, they have to get that straight, and they don't have much money to do it with. So, yeah, it's very vital, but they don't have a lot of wiggle room.
What do you think, Nick?
I'm torn about, like, if... Okay, is Bruce Brown... Let's say Darren Holmes is playable. Is it Darren or Duran, by the way? I know it is
Duran.
Okay. Say Holmes is playable in the rotation, which that's...
You're betting on it. You have to bet on it.
But, yeah.
You don't have to.
Is adding Bruce Brown and losing Russ and another year of Pickett and Strother developing, is that enough?
Nope.
Because
it's not.
They were pretty close.
It's not enough. Because you're one injury away again from, having nobody off the bench who can help you. Like, right now, if Mike goes down, who's your shooter that comes in to space the floor? Julian Strother? Like, the man can't shoot, like, more than one game out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is his job to work on that, obviously, this offseason. But you're betting that he's replacing one of the 10 greatest shooters in the league, like, immediately. And you need him to do it immediately.
Because I'm not seeing where else does the depth come from? I mean, so if Saric is gone, then... maybe you have another kind of, mid-level exception guy or whatever, $5 million, year player or something minimum, vet minimum or whatever, that you can replace him with. But is that really going to be the difference between a championship run or not? I don't.
You're just trying to take minutes down. You want minutes to lessen. Like, Jamal was playing like 37, 38 minutes a game. You cannot be running them into the ground when you know Jamal doesn't have the legs for it. You need Aaron Gordon's legs to be fresh in the playoffs, so you've got to be able to provide power forward minutes so that he doesn't have to play all the time every game.
Yeah. I guess what I'm kicking around in my head, I can't decide, is it worth it to try to move Murray or MPJ, knowing that you're not going to get back someone who's going to be equal value, but that you might be able to get back to, add 2 or 3 guys that are good enough.
That is the biggest. Yeah, this is the biggest question of this offseason. Are the Nuggets going forward with their starting 5 and trying to, replenish the bench with a bunch of minimum guys and possibly one taxpayer mid-level exception guy? Or are they going to try to shuffle things a bit in a more meaningful way and try to generate some depth that way? But we're going to talk about that right after these important messages. Okay, so the biggest news probably of last week, if you don't count, the finals games, whatever, it's just the finals. Desmond Bane got traded. He is a 0 All-Star on a max contract, although slightly lower max contract than Jamal Murray. Yet he was traded from Memphis to Orlando for 2 rotation-level players, 4 first-round picks, and a first-round pick swap. What was your reaction to this news, and how would you project the value of Jamal Murray's contract, since he's also a 0-time All-Star with 4 years of max contract money left on his deal? Is it possible that Jamal's value is similar to Desmond Bane's? Whoever wants to start.
I mean, my initial reaction was that the league is rigged with the Luca trade. Getting such a bad return. How there weren't more picks, how even like Austin Reeves wasn't included. I just don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I think Bane and Murray probably do have pretty similar value. Bane's cheaper and younger. He doesn't have the playoff pedigree, obviously, that Murray has. But I feel like that star has kind of faded a little bit on Murray the last couple of years. I'm not sure that playoff Murray, carries with it the same aura that it once did. And so I'm not sure how many teams in the league really, want to take on that contract. I think you do end up having to kind of pay somebody to take it. Now, how that, what that looks like, paying somebody to take him, might mean that you're just getting back, two guys that aren't as good, and maybe you're getting some draft compensation. But I don't love the idea of moving Murray and getting back like 4 first-round picks and a couple of like kind of borderline starters. I don't think that's a deal that I would be interested in.
Gordon,
but that probably is the kind of deal you'd get.
Well, I don't know if the Nuggets could get 4 first-round picks for Jamal Murray.
Not 4. No, not
so
probably not 4.
Here's your problem with Murray. Is Desmond Bane is not being sent there to be the hub of their offense. Orlando already has a point guard. Okay, he is being sent there to be their shooting guard who can also run the ball, run point on occasion. Like, he has good assist totals, but he is their defensive two-way shooting guard, floor spacer, all of it. He does everything. He is going to be the wing version of Aaron Gordon for them. And, if you need him, whatever you need him to do, he's going to do that. Jamal Murray's not that guy. No offense to Jamal. Jamal's not that guy. Jamal is not I'm going to sell out for every game in February, by laying it on the line defensively all the time. He's not that dude. So, he brings it in the playoffs if he has enough energy left, if he's not too beat up from the season. Jamal brings it when the lights are bright. So, if you're going to trade for him, it's going to be as the hub of your offense. And I don't know anybody I can't think of a team that's desperate for a point guard making $200 million who's going to be the dude. Whenever those guys have gone someplace else, Bradley Beal going to Phoenix, whatever, when they were that dude on their old team, and then they go to try to be somebody else's backup dude on a different team, or play second fiddle, it doesn't work that great. Jamal is second fiddle to Jokic, obviously, but he is the point guard, the ball handler, all of the actions go through him. When he runs off ball, he rarely even runs off ball with the bench. They need to run him off ball with the bench more to save him, energy-wise. But maybe if Bruce comes back, they can do that more. The fit between him and Russ wasn't quite as good. But for Jamal, you're not asking him to come in and be the missing piece. He doesn't fit with anybody like that. If you can name a team around the league that he fits with as the missing piece for their squad, I'd love to hear it. But that's why Orlando.
I kind of liked him on Orlando, honestly.
Well, I thought that
actually would have been an interesting
I think
fit.
that would have
And
been
also,
interesting.
I think Houston would be interesting for him, in the Fred Van Fleet spot, maybe something like that.
I could see that.
Because then you have a veteran guy coming in who knows how to win. He's won a championship, leading kind of a young group of defensive guys.
Right. Yeah. Houston, I could understand.
But those are there's a couple that I've thought
there's a
that
select
are interesting.
group where you could talk about that being a problem, and so that means
Boston maybe.
But yet Boston's trying to get under the cap. They just sold the team.
Yeah.
So now they don't. So. Now that they sold the team, Boston's like, look, we already lost, Tatum for the year. We don't have any. They're not trying to trade this year to win a title. That's not going to work. So there's limited ability to trade Jamal. It's not that he's a bad player. It's that for what he costs and what he does for you, you only have a couple of teams that can both pay the freight and give Denver back anything that they would want. There's not a lot of squads. So I don't think trading Jamal is really an option at this point. And
you have to trade him for a point guard.
Well, you do.
Too, really.
You don't have
so yeah.
So you're trading him for a lesser point guard.
Right.
Right. If they got back exactly the Bane trade, let's say they traded him to Orlando, and you got back, who was it? Cole Young,
Suggs.
It was KCP and Cole Anthony.
Oh yeah.
KCP and Cole Anthony. So Cole Anthony is fine. He's bench.
He's not a starter level. Right. Yeah.
And KCP was a disaster last year. Mm-hmm. Now that doesn't mean he'd be a disaster here, but neither of them can replace what Murray does in the offense. So now you don't have a pick and roll ball handler. You have 4 picks, but you made your title team definitely worse. and now you got to go figure out how to trade those.
Yeah,
four
it's just
picks
not. It's not a
for
move you
point
can do
guard.
unless you have some point guard already lined up or something in free
Right.
agency or something. I don't.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know that there's
You have
anybody
to.
there that-
You would then have to then trade what you got for another point guard from somewhere else. So then
I
you're
would
trading
actually,
those four first for like De'Aaron Fox or something.
I would actually say that kind of return for Jamal would be a dream for me. What Memphis got, it's because I don't expect the Nuggets to get the equal return in player value for Jamal. There's no way. But if you get all of those picks, maybe you can figure something out and get a star level player. Using maybe, I don't know, Mike's contracts, Aaron Gordon's contract, plus all of those picks, and maybe you're getting somebody else. It's just.
I mean, now you're talking about a complete team.
Yeah, now it's
Exactly.
overhaul.
Exactly.
And what I'm telling you is, how long did it take to figure out how to play next to Nikola Jokic? It took Murray
6 months.
years.
Mm-hmm.
It took a
Well,
guy. It took It took Paul Millsap, who does not have the ball in his hands, most
It's
of
true.
a year.
Well,
It
Jamal
took-
Murray didn't enter the league as a point guard. He became a point
I
guard.
understand that, but
during
Reggie
his
Jackson
tenure.
never figured it out. Like,
Yeah.
there
MPJ
are-
still doesn't know how to play.
yeah, I'm just saying, the playing next to Jokic is a singular event in basketball. And if you're telling me that they want to win a title this year, then replacing their point guard is not a thing that they're doing. They cannot do it. If you home grow a point guard, if Jalen Pickett turned into Jameer Nelson, okay, and so he's had enough time next to Jokic playing for a couple of years, and he suddenly blossomed into this terrific, so you got a bench player who's going to turn into Jalen Brunson all of a sudden. Okay, then you can move Jamal Murray because you've got a guy who knows how to do the business, and you can just move him into the role. That was originally what caused a lot of friction between Bones Highland and Jamal Murray, was Bones being like, I'm going to come for your job, and Jamal being like, you can't even handle your job. So, like, there was a lot of that originally. You don't have time for that kind of infighting. You literally don't have the energy on the squad for that. There is no guarantee that Jokic is re-signing with the Nuggets after, his current contract expires. You need to prove to him that is something that you want him to do and that he should want to do. Because he can get a contract from anybody.
The question is just, when you say about him extending his contract, would he be the happiest flower on the in the yard if they run it back and they still get knocked out in the second round again?
I don't know, but I mean, again, is he going to be happier if they trade off Jamal and then they have two worse players and some picks that might pan out in 2029?
No, that's the thing. You cannot use those picks as picks. You have to use those picks as trade assets. The only point I was trying to make is that ideal return Memphis got would possibly supply the Nuggets with some depth and also with possible new star power, behind the horizon. And
I think you can only.
It's really unrealistic, honestly, because I don't think the return would be as big.
Yeah.
I think you could only do it if there was some point guard that you really were super high on, that you thought his own team didn't properly value him, right. and they were also in a position to be able to trade for Murray's contract. I mean,
again,
I just don't know that that's out there anywhere.
Yeah, no, I don't think they can do that.
We're gonna play a fun game after the break. I call the choose your adventure, I guess. But before that, I just wanted to touch on the Lakers acquisition. The Lakers just got sold for $10 billion, or the part owned by the Buss family. Most of it was sold for $10 billion. And Shams, yes, he said Jeannie Buss is going to remain the governor of the franchise, but come on. We know that's not true. Is this move, the Lakers moving to a competent owner group, a bigger impact move than what the future Kevin Durant trade is gonna be to the league?
Then Durant, yes. But that's just because you might be able to convince Luca to stay. At this point, I'm 50-50 on whether or not Luca is going to stay in LA. So everything you're doing now is based on getting him whatever he needs, and that includes paying for coaches, doing whatever things you need to do, and all of the margin stuff is what the Lakers didn't afford because they didn't have to, because they're the Lakers and they play in LA, and all players want to play in LA. You didn't have to go ahead and have the best facilities because they don't. You didn't have to have, the best whatever. You didn't have to recruit anybody. The city recruited them for you. So, but now that you're going to be able to spend on margin stuff, like the best trainers, the best, whatever it is that you need to employ, you will have all of the best ancillary stuff around the squad. And I'm sure that improves on the margins, but you're just trying to make sure that whatever you do, you keep Luca. Because LA plus Luca is going to make other people want to come to you. And that's got to be the whole thing. So in that sense, I think it's useful. Otherwise, the Lakers have always gotten pretty much anybody the Lakers wanted. So I don't see that changing.
I mean, back to the Murray trade. That's my my wild
You want to swap Murray for Luca?
Yeah. There's the trade for me. But it would, obviously it's only going to happen if Luca wants it to
If
happen.
the Lakers hire Nico Harrison.
So I don't. Yeah,
Right,
exactly. right. But I mean, if Luca went to the Lakers and said, "Look, I'm not re-signing here, so you need to trade me or I'm walking," because he's unrestricted. Right. So, then he said, and if Luca's and the only team I'll go to is Denver.
Right.
He could force a Murray trade.
He could.
If he wanted.
If that happens,
I think that
it up. Yeah.
Yeah, to me that's my dream scenario. I don't think it's gonna happen, obviously. And I don't. Yeah. So ownership. Maybe my mind with the new ownership group just kind of goes to LeBron. Maybe they don't feel like they are as tied to LeBron, or that he's important to the future. I mean, at this point, LeBron to me seems like, I know he played really well last year. Stats, look good. He's still, an elite player at some point, but I don't know, man. He's getting so old, and it just feels like you're not winning a championship with LeBron as your horse. I mean, obviously Luca is now, but even as a second guy, I'm not sure that he can bring it enough consistently for 40 minutes in a championship run to win you a title. So I don't know why you pay him unless you're just keeping him there because he's LeBron and you want the LA, thing.
Right. Well,
it's more about the entertainment value or something.
If you're, what else are you going to do that's better? This is another one of those.
Yeah, fair.
We got Luca, and we know that LeBron is a transitioning thing because HGH doesn't work forever. At some point, he's gonna get tired, and his stats are gonna go down.
I'm shocked you'd imply such a thing.
I'm just saying, yeah. At some
Lots
point,
of human beings look like that.
Yeah, of course they do. So for me, I assume that they're not tied to LeBron, but even if they were, it doesn't matter. He's not going to be good for that much longer.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be 50 playing in the league. So, and like you said, he already can't handle the full season energy needed to do the things that he's doing and bring it in the playoffs. So, from that point of view, they just need to figure out the Luca situation, and then once that's figured out, everything else is ancillary. Everything else is secondary to that.
I'm just wondering whether LeBron wants to play with his other son, Bryce, as well, or is he ready to just go on a farewell tour?
Grandkids, yeah. Pull a Satchel Paige in 2047 and come off the bench.
He could just announce the retirement season and just take all the fame for him for the next 12 months. Everybody would be just talking about it.
He's definitely announcing it. He's not going quietly into the night.
Exactly. Okay, let's take our last break, and after that, let's play a game. Don't go anywhere. we are back. Choose your adventure. This is the game where I will give you 10 moves the Nuggets could theoretically make this offseason, and you will give me your grade from 10 to 1 on your excitement level or on your satisfaction level for that particular move. The trick is you can use a grade only once without knowing what will be next thing
Okay.
in the offering. And I know people are going to jump at me saying that I stole this idea from Adam Mares, but I will tell you guys, relax. I'm pretty sure he stole that idea from somebody else before I stole it from him. So 10 off-season moves, you operate together. I will let you pick one by one your grades. And Gordon is going to be first. Gordon, I'm going to put it on the screen now. The first move is the Nuggets get Herb Jones from the Pelicans for Zeke Naji, Dario Šarić, Peyton Watson, and 2030 first-round pick swap. How excited would you be about this move from 1 to 10?
Well, they don't even have a 2030 pick swap that they can do. The
I think
2030 that they have is tied up. It's tied up because of if it doesn't convey in 29 or whatever, it rolls to 30.
Yeah, then it could be
2031.
Or 2029 pick swap. They have 2 pick swaps available.
It's available.
For them. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe they go 28.
So you're getting rid of two guys you're trying to get rid of to clear your cap sheet a bit. You're getting a really good player in Herb Jones, but you're losing Peyton Watson and that I guess important. So from 1 to 10.
10.
Consider.
Okay, and the numbers just to clarify.
I might have something better after this. So
yeah, this is our excitement level, right?
Like if you're hitting me up with, I remove all of the expensive pieces that I can't use, plus the guy I can't re-sign, and I don't even lose a pick for it. I just swap a pick to get Herb Jones. Then yes, that's a 10. Good job, you pulled it off.
Okay, so that's a 10.
As far as my realisticness of that, it's like
sure.
a 1. But like as far as execution, if they said yes, then you take it.
Okay. So guys, you need to know now you don't have a 10 anymore.
Whoa.
Nick,
this is a group that I didn't agree to 10.
It is a group. So Nick, your highest possible number will be 9.
So you would hit 9. Okay.
So just for you to know what is going on.
All right.
So let me just write down 10 here because I want to make.
Gordon gets excited by different things than I do, apparently.
So Nick,
I do like the trade. I mean, I like the trade for the Nuggets.
Here.
I think
it would free up 2 extra spots in the rotation.
No, it's a good trade for the Nuggets, but
exactly. Yeah, I'm not sure how realistic it is, but it is something I came up with. So, Nicholas,
that's just like getting excited about like a Toyota Camry or something. I don't know. It's a nice car that'll go a long time, whatever. But like...
Okay, Nick.
Yeah.
Move number 2. Bob Myers become the president of basketball operations, and his first move is to sign Kevon Looney to a veteran minimum deal. How excited are you about that? So you get both Bob Myers, but also Kevon Looney.
I like Looney well enough as a backup big. I mean, Myers has a lot. I don't know enough about, like, he seems to have a good reputation in the league, but I don't really like him. Just from watching him on TV and stuff, like I don't see anything that seems particularly astute about his analysis of basketball.
He's very handsome, though.
He does. Okay, so yeah, he's a good figurehead for the organization, I guess. And we are in a vibes first world now, apparently. So. Maybe there's something to that, but I don't know. I'm fine with it. I'd be 5.
5, okay. So Gordon, you're
5.
not allowed to use 5
I won't
anymore.
use 5.
So you're doing the group thing. Okay, Gordon, back to you. Frank Vogel becomes the lead assistant and a defensive coordinator for the Nuggets.
Okay. That's got to be, I don't know. I would say that's at least a 6.
Okay.
Because he's a good defensive coach. He and Adelman they've worked together before. Adelman probably needs a guy who's done it before to help him out. Even though he's been a lead assistant for a while, I think that would be a good move for the Nuggets. I'll give that an easy 6.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's smart to bring in a vet coach with a kind of expertise, and
yeah, not sure how realistic that is because that is an expensive move.
You have to pay him. Yeah,
no,
you don't have
he's
to
still getting paid, so you don't.
Well, I mean, you are taking, his. I think if you sign a coach that's already been paid by another team, you're taking over his salary.
Nope. Whatever you pay him comes out of whatever that team is paying him.
Yeah. That's what.
So if you pay him $1 million, he's still getting the other millions.
Oh,
sure,
absolutely.
So you don't have to pick up the
absolutely.
That's why it's amazing to hire guys who are already under contract to somebody else.
I didn't think I knew that actually.
That is a really good point. As
I recall, that's how that works. I'm sure somebody in the comments or whatever will correct me, but that is my understanding. Is that whatever you pay them comes out of whatever is owed by the other team, but they still keep getting paid by the other team no matter what.
Oh, so, you're lucky we are not on Twitter because not only you would be corrected, you would be you would learn how incorrect you were.
Yes, right. That is. Yeah, I would be humbled
and be insulted repeatedly. Yes.
Yes, that is correct.
That is true. Okay, Nick, back to you. Move number 4.
Okay.
So you cannot move.
I have no idea what numbers we have left. But...
You cannot use 5, 6, nor 10. Okay. So the move is the Nuggets have the training camp in Colorado and have all of their players in the town 2 weeks before the start of the training camp. So let me just explain this. The Nuggets have sucked at home for the last couple of seasons, which is something that is unacceptable for me. Mm-hmm. And it is because they've had training camps at the sea level, right, and they would just, gather around a day before the training camp starts. So they don't really build in any altitude advantage in their bodies at all. So
which is more important for the beginning of the season, too, before guys are really in the thick of the season.
You want it early. Yeah, you want to have that advantage.
If I force them all to come to Denver 2 weeks before the training camp and they actually do it in Colorado Springs or whatever other beautiful spot in Colorado there is, how excited would you be about that move?
We get him training it in Leadville somewhere. Doing the 100-mile Ironman. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say a 1, not because I don't think it's a good idea or that it would be helpful. I think it is a great idea, and they should do it. I just don't think it would really matter to their title hopes.
It's a great idea, but it's just the worst idea I came up with.
You said excitement level. It just wouldn't excite me that much, is what I'm saying, because I will get excited about championships at this point. So I just don't think it really moves the needle too much. I think it could get them, okay, maybe they get off to a better start in the first month or two, and then maybe that means they get a higher seed, like 1 seed higher or something. They're not gonna be higher than OKC or something probably in the regular season. So I don't think it really does much for their championship aspirations.
What do you think, Gordon, about this one?
I think it matters for early in the season. I do. Every win matters. Like, if they had 1 more win this year, 2 more wins this year, then they would have been the 2 seed. And that would have been nice. Yeah, I would go with like a 3 still, though. Like, it's not... I don't think that's a needle mover. Because, again, in April, what you want is, I don't care if we're the 8 seed, get me to April healthy. That's the part that I care about. Like, as long as you get me to April and all my guys are, like, raring to go, everything else is immaterial to me.
Yes, props to the comments, by the way, for saying that they should do it at AG's house.
Right? He has enough room.
Totally. It's perfect. Just do, like, a boot camp AG's place. He probably has like 10 bedrooms too.
Probably a bigger court than the Nuggets training.
Probably
court
the
as well.
actual training facility. Yeah, no doubt.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. My point was just if you start the season strong, maybe you can afford to rest your guys in early April, like they did in 2023.
Right.
I'm just saying.
No, I hear you.
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Okay, so we've lost 1, 5, 6, and 10. And Gordon, your adventure is Jamal Murray starts working with Steve Hess.
Two. I don't think the training partner is the problem.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Until Jamal wants to come into camp after having done like a bunch of yoga and like gone on a pescatarian diet and like until Jamal shows up in shape, ready to go, like light on his feet, like the Jamal we get in January.
Until he goes to some like off-season thing with LeBron to some mysterious island somewhere.
Yeah. If he goes to the HGH camp like overseas, that's great. Do that. Like, but until that happens, no, I ain't seen it.
Yeah.
Honestly, Jamal and the Lakers would be amazing because he'd be sharing a locker next to LeBron, and they'd just have content switches and everything would be fine. He'd be awesome.
That's the deal. I'm telling
you. Yeah, well, we figured it out. Nicholas. Yep. You cannot use 1, 2, 5, 6, or 10.
Okay.
And your adventure is Grand Rapids Gold moves to Colorado Springs and is rebranded to Tesla, not that Tesla. You cannot use 1 or 2.
Can I use 0?
No. I'm sorry.
See, this is why when you were like, "Well, this is my worst idea," we're like, "I don't know." What are these ideas, Miroslav?
Now you're getting excited about.
So the team name is going to be, so it's going to be the Colorado Springs Tesla.
Yeah,
Teslas, okay. But it's not. But but it will have nothing to do with
It would have to do
more
with
infamous
Tesla. Who had the lab in Colorado Springs? Yeah.
No. Elon, it's all Tesla is too tainted. The word Tesla is too tainted to me. That's a 0.
Okay, you can use 3 because that's the lowest number.
Okay, with it's 3, but with an asterisk that it's actually 0.
Okay, Gordo. We don't have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, or 10.
Right.
And I'm gonna put your adventure on the screen again. 1 second. This is a trade again. So the Nuggets get Robert Williams III, who is on an awful contract, but an expiring one, and getting rid of Zeke Nagy and Dario Saric. And I'm guessing they would need to add maybe a pick swap to that as well, because why the hell would the Blazers do this without that?
Right, because then they're
this is just clearing out.
It would just be a dump for the Blazers.
One roster spot cleared for the Nuggets, and you have an expiring you might use in a trade later in the season.
Man, like if he was ever healthy,
yeah, he's played in like 50 games in the last 3 years.
Yeah, like Time Lord just can't stay on the court, man. Like I'm gonna go. I have a 4 left, right?
You have a 4, yes.
Okay, sorry, man. All the rest of these ideas better be good. Do you want me to? What do you think, Nick? Should I go?
Hold on. Okay, so let me throw something out. So Gordon, if you don't have a strong feeling either way,
I don't.
Robert Williams is Jeremy's like second favorite player.
He's amazing.
After Paul Millsap, he wanted him on the Nuggets. Yeah, he's wanted him on the Nuggets forever.
Is that a good sign, though?
No. Well, I'm just saying, as a way to pour one out for the homies, maybe we make this like a 7.
All right, wait to 7.
So there you go, Jeremy. You better be listening to this.
Time Lord again, and the thing is, if it worked out, that's the kind of thing that gets you a championship. If you're like Time Lord is healthy as
if he stays healthy
center
for
the Nuggets, holy shit, he would be killing people off the bench. Like that would be a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think then you potentially think about maybe moving MPJ gets a little more enticing because you move AG to the 3.
Yep.
And you can play Time Lord
play
at the
him more
4.
at the 4.
Mhm.
Yeah. But again, it also gives AG time off then.
Mhm.
So you don't have to play AG as many minutes. He can play 29 minutes and not 36 minutes because you have
Yep.
Time Lord out there sucking up some time. So, yeah, we'll go 7.
Okay, Nick.
Mhm.
Here's the next adventure. The Nuggets sign all of Gary Harris, Mason Plumlee, and Monty Morris to veteran minimums.
What do we have
old
left?
friends.
4,
So
8, 9.
4, 8, and 9.
Yes. Thank you, Gordon.
Monty Morris,
Mason
Plumlee.
and Gary Harris.
Gary Harris for the bench.
Now,
Is that in
okay,
addition to Bruce Brown?
we're talking Gary Harris.
I did
Yes.
not. Yeah, I did not mention Bruce Brown in this move. Maybe they don't get Bruce Brown because these are 3 veterans they've signed. How many free spots do they have?
They have to make
Yeah.
other decisions. Yeah.
I'll go with the higher end. I think I'll go an 8. I think
There
it
you
would
go.
get me excited. I think bringing the old crew back. If you could actually sign all of those guys,
The minimum.
I mean, I would take those as role players on the bench. Sure, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is like that's honestly my off season that I want is to get the band back together. You would get
Mhm.
Bruce Brown,
Get Bruce,
Monte
yeah.
Morris to back him up,
Yeah.
and he plays fine. He makes sure you don't have to use any rookies or rookie
Yeah.
contract guys. You've
Is there any
Mason
chance KCP
Plumlee
gets bought out or
as a
something?
7-footer. Right, exactly. Like
Yeah.
bring back the dudes who know how to play with Jokic. There's no adjustment time. Everybody's happy as a clam to be here.
Mhm.
Everybody loves being here doing their thing. Although Plumlee wasn't that happy about being here, but he'll be happy this time because they're going to win a title. So, yeah, hit me with the 8.
Okay, so Gordon, 4 and 9 are left, and this is the deal you're working with.
Okay.
The Nuggets get Kevin Durant. They give away Jamal Murray, 2031 first round pick and 2 first round pick swaps. And the Nets are helping the deal happen by taking Zeke Naji and Peyton Watson on their books.
Okay.
So basically, the Nuggets are losing Jamal, Zeke, and Peyton, and all the picks that are left, and are getting Kevin Durant.
4.
Is that a 4 or a 9?
It's a 4. You don't have an offense still.
Yeah.
You don't have a point guard.
Yeah.
And now you have no money or picks to get one, and you have no space to sign one.
I have to say, guys, I love the way this went because we have only one adventure to take.
What's
And
9?
Nick will-
Hit me with what's 9? So you got to tell me now.
Nick will have to take the 9 here,
Okay.
and the 9 is Vlatko and DJ sign a new veteran minimum contracts with the Nuggets. The Nuggets bring back all 14 guys and only replace Russell Westbrook with Dennis Smith Jr.
Oh.
That is going to be the 9.
That's the 9.
Okay.
Apparently.
There we go.
It's
Running
the
it back,
way the
boys.
game works.
Running it back.
Are they worse with Dennis Smith Jr. in place of Russell Westbrook? They must be worse.
Yeah,
right?
they were.
Probably worse. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I think
But probably
this
better
was-
with Bruce Brown.
Yeah, the Bruce Brown thing, I'm just going forward and back with that. I think it's a lateral move replacing
Yeah.
It
Russ with Bruce.
It is.
It's a lateral move. It might be a bit better in playoffs and a bit worse in regular season, but who knows? Like,
Right.
is he healthy?
It is a similar move.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a Russ, but Bruce understands what the team requires a little better, I think, than Russ does. But I think they're equivalent players or equivalent production. But I think that since you don't have Russ, it's going to be real hard to replace Russ's production if you don't get Bruce Brown. So you're going to get worse real quick if you don't do that. So
Okay.
fingers crossed. New
Before
GM,
we-
whoever you are,
And whenever you are.
right?
So, guys, I'm going to give you 1 minute for your closing thoughts on anything. Maybe it's the global warming. Maybe it's something else that is bothering you.
I
I'm
think it's like
going to
I get
give
a minute
you
to say whatever I want.
1 minute to
Hit it,
say
Nick.
whatever you want.
if you haven't watched Andor yet, watch it.
There you go.
I like that.
Watch it and think about it and absorb it and enjoy it and love it. And Star Wars is back.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that one, man. That one works for me.
Was that a minute?
Yeah, that's close enough. That's good enough. Like, that's because if you're gonna watch like one TV show, that's a good one.
Yep.
Still haven't watched it. I'm really excited about it. And I actually have a buddy who just started watching Star Wars, and I gave him, the correct order in my mind.
Okay.
And he's just now watching Andor, and I'm so excited about him.
There you go.
What's the correct order?
Well, for me, it's okay. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then you do Solo just because it's a good movie, and then you watch
Hot take.
Then you watch Obi-Wan Kenobi because that's a good show, I think.
Another hot take.
I just liked it, and then you go Andor, Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, and you wrap it up.
You stop. Just stop right there. It's fine.
I sort of like the. I sort of like starting with. Well, it's a little trickier now with Rogue One and Andor, but yeah. So if you start with, 4.
It's better to start with 4.
If you start with 4, you do
5,
4, 5, and then do the prequels as
1 to 3. Yeah,
as a flashback.
I agree. I actually agree. For somebody that has never watched it, but for a veteran, I like the chronological order as well. Okay, guys, that is all I've prepared for you this week, my dear listener. And please, with the cherry on top, take the word prepared extremely loosely. Be well, be safe, be kind to everybody. Call your mom. And until next week, I'll set you free into the void before the next show with a new greeting. If you come to Serbia and want to impress your hosts, tell them that you know the word vampir, or the English version vampire, is a Serbian word that the entire world is using. So until next week, vampir.